My name is Joel Gustafsson, and I work as a front-end developer in Knowit Development Stockholm. And today I will talk about virtual assistants and especially Google Assistant, and more specifically how you can build your own actions for Google Assistant and other chatbots. So we'll build a conversational experience using Dialogflow, node.js, and Firebase. And the agenda today will be, I will first talk a little bit more broad about virtual assistants and where they are today, and after that go through like more of a demo where we will actually try to build like a small assistant named Pizza Pal. Okay. Oh yeah. And first I want to ask: has anyone of here like used a virtual assistant like Google Home or Google Assistant? Yeah, a lot of you have. Has anyone tried like building their own action for a virtual assistant? I know Jimmy has for Alexa. But yeah, so you're actually not the only ones who have tried Google Assistant or other virtual assistants. They're getting like a very widespread and a big adoption rate all over the world. So like recently Google Assistant reached over 500 million users, and Alexa also has like hundreds of millions of users. So there's like a big hype around virtual assistants, and like a lot of people believe this will change the way we consume and both services and media and like everything we do digitally. Like it's a new revolution almost. But do these virtual assistants actually live up to their like praise and hype right now? That's like one of the questions we will dive into today. But before answering that question, we have to know what a virtual assistant is. So, according to Nielsen Norman Group, which is a design or UX group, this is the main characteristics of a virtual assistant. First of all, they have a voice input, which kind of makes sense. You can talk to the assistant instead of typing commands. Secondly, they have some natural language understanding, so they can understand what you say, and a user can structure the input in many different ways, just as we do in like normal human conversations. Third, we have some voice output, and in the Nielsen Norman characteristic, they only mention voice output, but most virtual assistants do like a combination of both voice and displayed output, and I think maybe that's the way forward for having a good user experience. And the fourth characteristic is intelligent interpretation, which means that an assistant utilizes additional information, such as context or past behaviors, besides like the user's literal input, to better estimate what the user wants. So for example, if you like ask for a restaurant or something, the assistant will know that you're asking for a restaurant in maybe the area the user is currently in or something else, so they will be better adjusted for answering the question correctly. And the fifth one is agency, which basically means that the assistant undertakes actions that the user hasn't specifically requested, which could be if you're booking an appointment, the assistant will save it in your calendar automatically and stuff like that. So it's actually an assistant and helping you in your daily life. So now we know a little bit more about what an assistant is, and we also know like it's something happening here. There's a lot of people using it, but how are like these assistants actually working, and how are they doing in real life? So this is actually a conversation I had with Dominos Pizza's chatbot, which is similar to an virtual assistant. This is actually built with Dialogflow, which we'll use today, and this one clearly has some problems. And this one is lacking in the natural language understanding. It doesn't really understand the input I'm giving to it, even if it's correct. And this one is another one, which has some other problems. For example, it doesn't understand like all of the entities in my input. So I'm asking for the weather this weekend, but it's giving me the weather today, and then it's losing the context. When I'm asking this weekend, it completely loses track of the conversation, and that wouldn't like happen in a real conversation. And like the third one is just this is just like bad user experience in like the conversational design patterns, because you always have to give the user some kind of exit or rescue track so they can go back in the conversation. Otherwise, you just force like the user into a corner. Yeah, so there's a lot of talking about this, but maybe we're not quite there yet, but hopefully in the future. But today we'll look more into like what we as developers can do to build actions that actually works and maybe doesn't like force the user into a corner or having a bad user experience. So today we'll build our own chatbot or virtual assistant named PizzaPal. And in this virtual assistant, you can order pizza, check the pizzeria menu, and check the opening hours. And we will build this virtual assistant using Actions on Google, which is like Google Assistant's development platform, and using Firebase for hosting our own functions. So our assistant can talk with our code and our API, and also a database and Firebase. And mainly we'll be using Dialogflow, which is a development suite for creating conversational experiences and interfaces. And this one is powered by Google's machine learning. So Dialogflow will do most of the heavy lifting. But it's not 100% connected to virtual assistants. You can use this for building bots for Messenger or Slack or whatever. So for example, the Dominos Pizza chatbot was also built with Dialogflow. But today we'll use it for a virtual assistant. And like the main building parts of or what we're going to build today is an action, or if you're building it for Alexa or Microsoft Cortana, it would be called a skill. But the main building parts of a action or skill is first you have some kind of intents to respond to like what the user says, and you have entities, and that is to extract detailed information from the user's query. So that could be, no, I'll go further into details later. We have fulfillments, and that's how we connect the assistant to our code. And finally, we'll go through how we can integrate our service with Google Assistant. I'll just give a short example of an example intent. So this would be an intent for an action that lets users like find different movies on cinemas and stuff. So this would be like a classic virtual assistant intent. And these are like the building blocks of it. So you have a few entities. So for example, Stockholm is an important entity to know like where to find a movie. Tomorrow is also important to know the date, and we have like a custom entity to know the genre of the movie to find. So we need this information to give the user like the answer they want. So that's like, yeah, typical scenario and like the main parts of an intent that we need. So now I'll try to show you how you can build your own assistant. Yes.
Is there any cost to Dialogflow or anything?
They have like a pretty generous free tier, so you can do this for free. But it's all like based on Google Cloud, but you can do everything for free if you're not like deploying it. So you can do a lot of stuff without paying for it. So this is how Dialogflow looks. I've prepared a little bit. So usually when you start, like create a new agent, you get these two basic intents. So you have a fallback intent and a welcome intent. And you also have like a simulator here to the right where you can try your action and the different building parts I talked about, intents, entities, fulfillment, and then some stuff more we won't be talking about. So if you go into the default welcome intent, basically I haven't done nothing with this in preparation. This is what you get out of the box when you create a new action. So and this event here is just like a trigger. So this event will be the first thing that triggers every time the user tries to talk with our action. And it has some training phrases. So this is basically the phrases we feed into Google's machine learning model, so that Google will map like these phrases and understand the user's intent is supposed to be connected to this action. This intent I meant. And finally, we can give some response to the user's query. And as I mentioned before, you can use Dialogflow for both like Google Assistant, but also Facebook Messenger or Slack. So you can give custom responses depending on the servers you want. And in our case, I should actually demo what we're going to build first. So this is a virtual assistant simulator, so we can try the action in action here. So we'll talk to Pizza Pal.
Let's get the test version of Pizza Pal.
Hi, welcome to Pizza Pal. How can I help?
So this is coming from Dialogflow. So we have the three main intents that we're talking about: to order pizza, check the menu, check the opening hours. So I'll just demo the order pizza flow, which we're building today.
Which pizza do you want?
And usually, like, because Google Assistant can be run on like a Google Home, but it can also be run on a mobile phone and devices without a display and devices with a display. So you can both give a response, which can be read, but also you have to have some kind of voice output. So for example, for Google Home, you will only hear which pizza do you want, but on a mobile screen, you will also see the menu. We want to order 1 Vesuvio.
1 Vesuvio for a total of 80 KR. Do you want to proceed with order?
And the menu you saw before, it's fetched from a database hosted on Firebase. And yes, we want to proceed with the order.
Your order is now being prepared. Grab it in 10 to 15 minutes. Thank you.
So this is what we'll try to build right now. So the first one you saw was the welcome intent. And that's just, hi, welcome to Pizza Pal. How can I help? And then some suggestions on which actions you can do inside a agent. Yeah, so that's basically it for the welcome intent. And then I'll create a new intent for the opening hours, because I removed that one, so we can see how we can build your own intents in action. So we'll name this opening hours and add some training phrases. So first, opening hours, what times are you open? And you don't have to like cover all scenarios, because that's one of the strengths with Dialogflow and the machine learning models like running beneath. So basically, if you just add a few training phrases, it will be able to map most user queries to the right intent. Like when are you open? So on. Maybe just these three, and then we add a response. We are open on weekdays from maybe 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. On weekends, we are open from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. or something. And we'll save this. And now it's training the, or we'll see soon. Yeah, training the agent and completed. So it's just running the machine learning models beneath. And we can try the new intent here. So we'll ask for opening hours, or what are your opening hours? And you see we get the response here. And you can also see this is not like the query I sent is not the exact same phrases I've specified here. So it's quite good at just understanding what the user says. And yeah, of course, you can do this by voice instead of typing. So we'll continue. So that was the opening hours. And then we have we can continue with the like select pizza flow. Or wait, no, we should do order first. So we had 3 different paths to walk, and the one was to order pizza. So if the user says, can I order pizza please, or I want to order pizza, this intent will be triggered. And this intent will be using a fulfillment. So this will be connected to our functions at Firebase instead. And I will show you how that code looks like. So basically we have some like node.js code running on Firebase. And this is just like a lot of config stuff. And then I've put the intents in different folders. But basically you can see how I map each intent to a function. And so for the order intent, we have this function. And basically when we want to order a pizza, we want to show the user like a menu of pizzas and also just a question like which pizza do you want. So we can check the pizza menu. And this is just using actions in Google to create the table you saw in the assistant simulator. So it's quite easy to do something that's quite visually appealing, but can also just work through voice. And you always need to give the user the option to only like run the assistant through voice. So this is basically just the intent for order. And yeah, as you see, I just checked this box to enable a webhook, and then I have entered a just a URL to the function at Firebase. Okay. So then, when the user responds to like which pizza they want, we have the select pizza intent, and here we come to like a few more of the building parts for a intent. So this one is actually using entities as well to like know which pizza and which quantity of pizza we want. So for the training phrases, I've added like 1 Vesuvio and 2 Vegetale, and then we have to be able to extract that information to base the order or send those in the order. So then we're using entities. I'll show you how that looks. So we actually need 2 entities, just one for pizza. So for Google Assistant or for Dialogflow to understand like this is actually something in the user's query that we need to extract, I can add some custom entities. So when a user says Vesuvio, we can extract that from the intent, or margarita and so on. And for maybe like if you build a real action, you'll probably get this information from like the menu I have in the database in Firebase, instead of like specifying here manually. But so if a user says any of these pizzas, we'll be able to extract them from the user's intent. And I also have another entity which just combines the quantity and the pizza. So number is a built-in intent. So if you say one Vesuvio or like 2 Vesuvio, you want to know that number 2 is connected to Vesuvio, and so on. So that is how you use intents. And if I try to add another expression here, like I want 1 Vesuvio and 2 fungi or something, it will like automatically find out like these are the 2 intents in the user's query. So it's quite cool. And I will be able to get this quantity and pizza extracted in my fulfillment, as I'll show you soon. And yeah, as you see, this one is also using a webhook or fulfillment to respond to the intent. So we'll check the select pizza intent here. So this is a little bit more code. I won't go through everything, but it's still quite simple. So I have a function query pizza which will get the pizzas the user wants from the database in Firebase, to be able to get like the price of the pizza and a description of the pizza. And this one is very simple. It's just a query to the Firestore database. I can actually show you how it looks like. So here I have all pizzas and just some more information. So when the user says Vesuvio, we can get the price as well. And here, like we're both building a response that will work only like voice-based or by voice output. So we'll say like the first 3 pizzas on the menu will speak out, and then we will like tell the user that they can find all pizzas on the website, because you don't want like if you're asking Google Home to order pizza, you don't want it to like just mention 40 pizzas in a row. So you have to like keep the output quite small. So we have the voice output here, and then we also, yeah, that's basically it. And we get the price. So this is the pizzas they order, and then we combine the prices and then ask if the user wants to proceed with the order, and give the users 2 suggestions, yes and no. But these suggestions will only work on a device with a screen. But the user can still like go forward by saying yes or no. So that was the select pizza intent. I can just show it one more time.
Let's get the test version of pizza.
So yeah, the first one was order pizza.
Which pizza do you want?
And you can see here you have the menu here, but for Google Home you will only hear which pizza do you want. say one Vesuvio. There was the
One Vesuvio for a total of 80 kr. Do you want
yeah.
to proceed
So this is the
with
function that runs and sent this response to that user's intent. So we'll continue with the next one here. So we have two options here, yes or no. And as I showed you before, on like the more failed examples, you have to have context when it comes to conversational design. So for example here the training phrases are yes, okay, I will, why not? But that doesn't mean anything without like the context proceeding with the order or saying yes to continue with the order. So that's that's where context come in. So you'll see it has a input context here, which is select pizza follow-up. And if we check the select pizza, we have a output context. So this basically means that the yes can only, or will only be triggered if it's happened like right after this intent. So if we just say yes somewhere like in the middle of the conversation, this intent will not be triggered. It has to have this context fulfilled before. And that's basically how you build more complex conversations by adding different contexts and can lead the user down different paths. And then you also have, as I mentioned before, some kind of rescue so you can go back outside, like reset the context. Yeah. So this is the proceed with order intent. This is also just a webhook, so we can check the fulfillment here as well. And this basically gets the information from the user, creates a order object which we store in Firebase Firestore, and then we actually close the conversation and tell the user that we're done. Do you have any questions so far? Yeah?
Yeah, I have one. So in Firebase and Firestore, you define all your pizzas.
Yeah.
But you also define them in
Entities, yeah.
Yeah. Do you have to do that?
No.
Can you just fetch?
Yeah, you can fetch.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's yeah. Then you have to have some kind of admin panel or something.
Okay.
Yeah, but you can fetch them, or like the Dialogflow has an API, so you can create entities or intents programmatically, and that's probably how you want to do it, because otherwise you have like a risk of mismatch or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something you would want to do.
Okay, cool.
But you can basically build like a whole conversation without using fulfillments as well, by using context and entities inside Dialogflow. But as soon as it comes to doing like more complex stuff, like saving a order in another database or fetching a pizza from some database or whatever, then you have to like start adding your own fulfillments. But for most like basic scenarios, you can get by only using Dialogflow. And we have just another intent here for if the user says no. So this also is using the select pizza context. So no wouldn't mean anything if it's not in the context of proceeding with the order. And here we just give the user like a rescue, so they can order something else. And like always during this conversation, they can say, like, I want to check the menu or check the opening hours and go back. But I think a big problem with like virtual assistants and those kind of experiences that the user like never see what they can do, so they have to know like themselves the different paths they can walk down. So like when building experiences for virtual assistants, you want to show them the different paths they can walk down and what they can do. It's also very hard when you don't have a display, because you don't want to like just tell them every single thing they can do. And I think that's like the biggest design flaw right now, at least with virtual assistants. But I think that was basically all I had. Oh. Ta-da. So do you have any more questions? Or also I've uploaded like the whole fulfillment and functions to GitHub, so you can like check out the code, and you can import the agent to Dialogflow and try out yourself. Yeah. Questions?
Have you tried
different virtual assistants?
You mean like Alexa or?
Yeah. Do you have
Yeah.
any that you like more than the other?
Yeah. So for example, Google Assistant is quite nice because they're offering a lot of languages like Swedish and maybe Norwegian as well. Which Alexa,
So,
yeah, but Alexa is mainly in English. But otherwise they're quite similar. And you can actually build actions in Dialogflow and export to Alexa's own interface for building skills, and you can export Alexa skills to Dialogflow to run them on Google Assistant. But I never really tried Alexa except like in a simulator. But I think it's pretty much the same, or like it's equally hard or easy to build different actions and skills.
Does Apple have a
Siri, I guess.
Siri? Of
Yeah.
course.
But they don't have. I don't think they have a device in the same sense as Echo and Google
you have
Home.
a HomePod?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true.
Yeah, that's
So-
nobody buys.
No, but there's a lot of like different ones. You have Samsung, Bixby, and like there's different ones popping up. But Google Assistant is at least the most used one, and then Alexa is like close after.
Have you tried deploying it to your own Google Assistant,
Yeah.
only voice controlled?
Yeah. So actually, if you're building like using Dialogflow and just like log into your Google account, you can try the action on your phone and like Google Home right away without deploying. So, but yeah, I built like one action for a Swedish company before named flygresor.se, and that's like how I got into this whole space. But that got very complex very fast, and it was like a lot of struggles, and yeah, it was quite hard because flygresor.se is a service for searching flights, and they have like quite long response times. And in a conversation, you don't want to wait like 5 seconds for a response. So then you have to do a lot of weird stuff to make it look like you have a conversation, and not have to wait like 5 seconds for each response. So I don't think it's for like every type of service, or not right now. It's for some type of services, but it's getting better and better. So I think soon it will reach.
So when you say that it's like 5 seconds wait to complete an API call,
Yeah.
is it possible to have like a loading sentence like "let me check" or?
Not for Google Assistant, at least, actually. Or yeah, you can. No, actually not. Or you can say like "let me check," and then the user has to give another response, and then can get.
Okay.
So you can start doing like a query in the background. So for example, so if you would say, like if you give like a summary, so you want this flight from Paris to London, you can actually start doing the search before the user responds, and then you might have the response ready. Something like that. I don't know how it is for Alexa, but
Alexa can repeat things like searching. You can have her
Yeah.
repeat that every.
And then await the response.
yeah, it doesn't work for Google Assistant, at least as of now. Which is intentionally, I think, but yeah, which makes it quite harder. But they want like the conversations to flow, and that's their intent. So. Yeah. Any more questions? Okay. Thank you very much.